Have you ever wondered what happens when a woman who's been wronged doesn't fall apart? What if, instead of being broken, she transforms in ways even she didn't know were possible? When a good woman is hurt, it's not the end, it's just the beginning of something deeper, something powerful. Her journey isn't marked by bitterness, but by a quiet, resolute strength. But what fuels this transformation? You see, a good woman doesn't just survive betrayal. She learns, she grows, and she rises. And when she does, the man who hurt her realizes too late that he's awakened a force he never truly understood. When a man hurts a good woman, it's seldom about her. It's more about his inability to truly comprehend the precious gift she has given him. Yet, in the midst of this pain, something is ignited within her, something even she might not have realized was there. You see, when a good woman is hurt, she doesn't crumble. She doesn't shatter into pieces, disappearing into the void. No, she does something far more powerful. She transforms. And this transformation, it's not loud. It doesn't explode with anger, rage, or the desire for revenge. It doesn't come with dramatic outbursts. Instead, it begins quietly, in the stillness of her own mind. It's in the silent reflection during those sleepless nights when she questions everything, her worth, her choices, her love. She wonders if the love she gave was ever enough, or if it was a misguided effort all along. But here's the crucial difference. With a good woman, those questions do not break her spirit. They sharpen it. Because deep down, she wasn't built on superficial or fleeting foundations. Her love wasn't tied to expectations or conditions. She loved with honesty, gave without keeping track, and stood by him through every storm, hoping that her belief in him would help him believe in himself. That kind of love is not weakness, it's strength in its rawest, purest form. So when that love is betrayed, the aftermath isn't chaos, it's clarity. She begins to see what she couldn't before, the moments when she made excuses for his behavior, the times she stayed silent in the name of a peace that was never real, the countless sacrifices she made for someone who didn't know how to receive them. And rather than growing bitter, she grows wise. She doesn't harden her heart. Instead, she starts to guard it, not by building walls, but through discernment. She doesn't lash out in anger or frustration, she levels up. This is what most men don't realize when they hurt a good woman. They believe she will always be there, that her compassion will outweigh her pain, that her loyalty will overlook their inconsistency. But there's a linear line that once crossed, she will never return from. Not because she stopped loving, but because she began learning. What she learns changes everything. In her transformation, she starts rebuilding herself, not in haste, but with intention. She pours her energy back into herself, her dreams, her growth. And here's the irony. While he thought he had diminished her, what he truly did was awaken her. And to a man who took a woman for granted, there is nothing more dangerous than witnessing her become what he was too blind to value, no longer driven by the need for revenge, but by pure resolve. And here's the hardest part for him to swallow. He didn't see it coming. He thought she would stay. He thought she needed him. But now, she no longer needs him. She has found herself. As we delve into the next part, let's explore how the journey of transformation doesn't end with betrayal, but leads to a profound rediscovery of self. What happens when she learns to value herself more than she ever did before? Stay tuned to uncover this evolution further. As we move forward from the transformation she underwent, let's now dive deeper into the consequences of her evolution. The shift that follows isn't just about moving on, it's about transcending. And that change? It's one men often don't see coming. He thought she would wait while he figured himself out, but the truth is, she didn't. She outgrew the version of herself that was content with being misunderstood. She stepped into a new version of herself, the one who knows better, the one who sees her worth clearly, not because she's cold or heartless, but because she has finally healed. This transformation, this rise in her spirit, is not something for him to witness. It's not his to interrupt. It is hers alone, authentically hers. And though he might wake up one day longing for the woman who once loved him unconditionally, she won't be there. Because in her healing, she has become the woman who now loves herself with the same intensity she once gave to someone who couldn't even receive it. And right there lies the real consequence of hurting a good woman. She doesn't just move on, she evolves beyond. Men often realize this too late, and it's a painful truth. Good women don't beg. They don't chase after the ones who damage them. Instead, they retreat, they reflect, and then they rise. And it's not that they don't feel the pain. It's not because they weren't deeply invested in the relationship or because the love wasn't real. It's because when you've poured your heart into someone, given them the most honest version of who you are, and they still choose to hurt you, something inside you breaks. Yes, there's a break. But along with it, something else wakes up. You start to recognize your value, not through his eyes, but through your own healing. That shift the realization of your own worth is irreversible. When a man hurts a good woman, he often expects her to fall apart. He imagines she'll lose herself in sorrow, that she'll return, seeking closure, understanding, or even of hurting a good woman. It's not just that she's gone, it's that you'll spend years, the smallest token of validation. But good women don't do that. Not forever. They may grieve. They may stumble. They may cry for nights on end, but they don't stay there. Why? Because good women have depth. They have resilience built from every time they loved fully, only to be let down. And when they walk away, they don't slam the door. They close it quietly, with dignity, with peace, and most importantly, with finality. The mistake he makes is assuming her silence is a sign of weakness. It's not weakness. Her silence is a decision to protect her peace, to no longer plead for someone to see her worth, to no longer shrink herself to fit into a story where she's consistently undervalued. Because love isn't supposed to feel like emotional warfare, and when a good woman finally accepts that, she doesn't lash out, she lets go. And that part, letting go, is the part most men don't see coming. They believe they can come back when they're ready, when life has taught them a lesson, when they realize the grass wasn't greener, but artificial. But by the time they realize this, she has already grown in soil far richer than anything they ever offered her. She's not bitter. She's just beyond him now. And that realization, that's the pain few men are truly prepared for. The pain of realizing that they lost something irreplaceable. As we continue, let's take a closer look at what happens when a man comes face to face with the woman. He low stand the strength she found in her transformation. Stay with us as we unfold what happens next. We reflect on the powerful transformation of a woman who has loved deeply and unconditionally. Let's now explore what happens when that love fades show. It shifts from a presence into a haunting absence. There's something sacred about a woman who gives without games, who loves without expecting anything in return, who shows up consistently with grace, loyalty, and an open heart. When that woman stops showing up, it's not drama, it's not manipulation, it's transformation. And that silence she leaves behind, it resonates louder than any argument ever could. It's in that quiet space where the real power lies. They'll look for her in other women through fleeting connections, empty praise, and shallow experiences, but they won't find her because she was one of a kind. Once you've known the depth of that kind of love, the kind that holds you even when you're difficult, the kind that stays when it's hard, the kind that believes in you even when you've lost belief in yourself, nothing else compares. That's the true cost. Chasing fragments of her in others, in people who can't even come close to holding a candle to what you so carelessly threw away. She didn't lose him. He lost her. And that realization will echo throughout the rest of his life. A man who hurts a good woman often believes, in the moment, that there will be no consequences for his actions. He convinces himself that she will stay, that she will tolerate just a little more, that somehow her love will keep cushioning the blows. What he doesn't realize, however, is that her loyalty, while deep, is not infinite. It has boundaries, it has limits, and when a good woman reaches that limit, something shifts. It's not just her perception of him that changes, it's how she starts to see herself. She begins to understand that the problem was never love. It wasn't that she loved too deeply. The real issue was that she gave the right kind of love to the wrong kind of man who didn't know how to receive it, a man who deep down may have even felt unworthy of it. When a man feels unworthy of real love, he will often destroy it before it has the chance to transform him. Because standing in the presence of a woman who truly sees you, your wounds, your failures, your darkness, and still loves you, that's terrifying if you haven't yet faced those parts of yourself. Instead of rising to meet her love, he runs from it, he lashes out, he dismisses it. Not because it's fake, but because it's too real, it's too revealing. And when that woman finally walks away, something tragic happens not to her, but to him. Because while she may grieve, she also grows. She reinvents herself. She heals. But he starts to unravel slowly, quietly, until one day he finds himself surrounded by emptiness. And he won't understand how it all slipped through his fingers. This is the painful truth about hurting someone whose only intention was to love you. You don't just lose them in the moment. You lose everything that could have been built with them. You lose every version of yourself that only they could have brought out. You lose the calm they gave you in your storms. You lose the belief they held for you when you couldn't hold it for yourself. As we transition into the next part, let's examine how this unraveling affects not only the man, but the relationships he loses in the process. What does it truly mean when someone realizes they've let go of the best part of their life? Stay tuned to explore the consequences of such loss. As we continue to explore the aftermath of losing a good woman, let's delve into the deeper consequences of that loss, the lingering echoes, the absence, and the realization that follows. You see, when a good woman loves you, she offers you something unique. She shows you softness when the world taught you to be hard. She provides a safe space for you to grow, a place where vulnerability isn't a weakness but a source of strength. That is the price of losing her. It's not just her absence, it's the absence of who you were when you were loved by her. A good woman doesn't want a perfect man. She doesn't expect flawlessness or unattainable standards. What she desires is honesty. She wants effort. She wants growth. She wants humility. And when you fail to bring those qualities to the table, when you choose ego over vulnerability, pride over accountability, you're not just rejecting her love, you're rejecting your own opportunity for transformation. What makes this all the more tragic is that many men realize this truth only when it's too late, when she has already rebuilt herself, when she has found peace without them. And all that's left for them are memories stained with regret. They're left with a silent question that echoes through every failed connection that follows. Why did I push her away? And the answer always comes back to this. Because you weren't ready to be loved that deeply. Because you hadn't yet done the work on yourself. Because you thought she'd always be there. But here's the painful reality. Love doesn't beg. Real love doesn't stay where it's mistreated. And when you finally learn that lesson the hard way, it doesn't just haunt you, changes you. By the time you're ready to change, she's long gone. What so many men fail to understand is that hurting a good woman doesn't end when she walks away. The aftermath is not clean. It's not immediate. The pain you've caused doesn't simply vanish because the relationship has ended or because time has passed. No, the ripple effects are far-reaching. They often come back to you in ways you never expected. When you hurt someone who gave you their heart without reservation, you don't just damage their trust, you damage something sacred within yourself. A man doesn't leave an encounter with a good woman unchanged. Whether he appreciated her or not, her presence leaves a mark. A woman who truly cared for you, who offered her love with sincerity, patience, and strength, she becomes a part of your inner world. Her voice lingers in your memory. Her support echoes in moments of doubt. Her belief in you remains, even after you pushed her away. And when she's gone, those echoes don't just fade away. No, they grow louder in the silence she leaves behind. That silence, it has a way of catching up with you. It shows up in the middle of the night when your mind is still, when there's no distraction to hide from it. It creeps in during quiet moments, when your defenses are down. And that's when it hits you the realization of what you've lost. Not just any woman, but the woman. The kind of woman who loved you past your pain. The one who forgave you more times than she should have. The one who saw your potential and tried to bring it out because she believed you were worth it, and you threw that away. As we move forward, let's examine how this internal reckoning plays out, and what happens when a man finally comes to terms with the consequences of his actions. Stay with us as we uncover the profound impact of losing someone irreplaceable. As we dive deeper into the consequences of hurting a good woman, let's explore the emotional aftermath that reverberates long after she's gone. The regret, the self-realization, and the painful truth of what was lost. It's in those quiet moments when regret begins to settle in, not just for what happened, but for what didn't. For the man you could have become with her by your side, for the life you could have built together. You may try to fill that void with something else, someone else, but it never works. Because what you had with her wasn't surface level. It wasn't just comfort, it wasn't just company. It was connection. Deep, unwavering, genuine connection. The kind of love that comes only once or twice in a lifetime if you're lucky. And once you've experienced it, everything else feels thin. It feels lighter, less true. And you start to compare not because you want to, but because something inside you is still tethered to the depth you walked away from. You begin to realize that the true cost of hurting a good woman isn't just losing her. It's losing a version of yourself that you only ever saw when you were with her. That's the price. That's the hidden punishment. You might not feel it immediately, but over time it builds. It accumulates in your failed attempts to recreate what you had. In your inability to fully invest in someone new. In your growing awareness that she wasn't just another chapter in your life, she was a turning point. And you missed it. When a man hurts a woman who only wanted to love him, the pain doesn't just live in her, it reflects back onto him. Because a good woman is not easily replaced. She's not easily forgotten. And once she's gone, so is the chance to be the man you were starting to become in her presence. And the cruel irony is, by the time you realize that, it's already too late. What many men fail to grasp when they hurt a good woman is that they're not just causing pain in the moment. No, they're shaping how she views herself, how she views love, and how she views the world around her. A woman who was once soft, trusting, and open-hearted doesn't just bounce back from betrayal or neglect. She adapts, she learns, and tragically, what she learns often hardens her. She starts to doubt the belief she once held so confidently. She begins to question whether the love she gave so freely was foolish. Was her loyalty naive? Was her unwavering belief in him just a mistake? That transformation, it's quiet. It doesn't come with grand speeches or dramatic declarations. It happens internally, over time, as a way for her to protect herself from ever feeling that same level of devastation again. What's left behind is someone more guarded, someone who doesn't trust as quickly, someone who has built walls where there used to be doors. You see, when you hurt a good woman, you force her to evolve, and she does. She becomes stronger, yes, but that strength is born from the pain she should have never had to carry. She becomes wiser, but at the cost of an innocence she never wanted to lose. And here's the part that should haunt any man who truly understands what he's done. That woman who once loved you freely, without reservation, without boundary-ish, he will never love that way again. Not in the same way, not in the same depth. As we continue, let's explore the tragic impact of this irreversible change. What happens when the damage is done and the woman who loved unconditionally has transformed beyond what was ever imagined? Stay with us as we uncover the emotional cost of this transformation. As we reflect on the lasting consequences of a woman's transformation, it's important to understand the impact on both her and the man who caused it. The change isn't just emotional, it's a shift in how she views love, trust, and herself. In those quiet moments when he reflects on what he's done, the harsh truth will slowly settle in. You were the reason. You were the one who pushed her into that transformation. You turned her love into silence, her warmth into distance, her loyalty into skepticism. And here lies the real tragedy. She didn't want to become this person. She never wanted to be closed off or guarded. She wanted to stay soft, to keep believing in love, in people, in the idea that if she gave her best, she would receive the same in return. But the wound you left behind whispered a different message. It told her that giving too much is dangerous, that caring deeply only invites pain, that loving someone without holding back is a risk not worth taking. So now she walks through life differently, not necessarily bitter, but changed. Less trusting, more measured. She listens more and speaks less. She observes instead of giving right away. She has learned to keep parts of herself hidden, not because she wants to play games, but because she's no longer willing to bleed for someone who hasn't earned the right to see her vulnerability. While this change might be necessary for her healing, it should be a sobering reality for the man who caused it, because what's been lost is something pure. And once that purity has been exchanged for self-protection, it rarely returns in the same form. You didn't just lose her. You helped create someone the world will never fully see again. Not because she's broken, but because she's cautious now. She's learned that love isn't always safe. And once that lesson is learned, it's incredibly hard to unlearn. The worst part? She will likely go on to be everything you never appreciated but for someone else. That person will have to work harder, dig deeper, and show more consistency to reach the parts of her that once flowed so freely. You closed the door that someone else will have to slowly unlock, and you did it not because she failed you, but because you couldn't handle what she brought to the table. You weren't ready for her depth, her love, her loyalty. And now, you must live with the knowledge that she became someone different, stronger, colder, and wiser because of you. That is the price of hurting a woman who only ever wanted to give you her best. When a man hurts the woman who gave him everything, it's easy to assume that she'll just walk away and that's the end of it. But the reality is far more complex. The truth is, when she leaves, when she pulls back, when she finally walks away from him, it's not just about the pain of that moment. It's about the culmination of every small act of neglect, every instance of betrayal, and every moment of disregard that she's endured. She's been trying to hold on, trying to make things work, trying to give him more chances, because that's what loyalty is about. But eventually, even the strongest hearts reach a breaking point. What you fail to realize in those moments is that when she walks away, she's not just leaving you. She's leaving behind a version of herself she once gave freely, only to find it no longer fit the life you promised her. As we continue, let's explore what happens when a man comes to grips with the irreversible changes his actions have caused, and what that realization means for both of them. Stay with us as we examine the path forward. As we continue to unravel the emotional journey of a woman who has been hurt and transformed by that pain, let's take a deeper look at the profound impact of her decision to walk away. She's walking away from a version of herself that was willing to love unconditionally, to believe in the best of you, to trust that love would be reciprocated. That version of her, one who believed in giving without counting the cost, is gone, and she doesn't return easily. It's hard to fully comprehend the weight of that shift unless you've experienced it firsthand. You see, when a woman leaves, it's not out of spite or mere frustration. It's not about seeking revenge or trying to make you feel guilty. No, it's about survival. It's about the realization that staying in a relationship where she's being hurt isn't an option anymore. It's about coming to the painful conclusion that her value can no longer be measured by how much she's willing to sacrifice for someone who doesn't appreciate her. And when she walks, it's not just because she's had enough, it's because she has come to understand that she deserves more. For the man who has truly hurt her, the most difficult thing to grasp is that she doesn't need you the way she once did. You were once her anchor, her confidant, her love. But now, in her decision to leave, She's found something even stronger, her own sense of self. She's found the courage to walk away, to let go of something that was never truly right for her. And in doing so, she begins to realize that her worth was never tied to your approval. But here's the truth. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. She may leave physically, but the emotional scars, the doubt, the questions, the what-ifs linger long after she's gone. It's not just about healing from the hurt you caused. It's about unlearning all the things she believed about herself while she was with you, the things she believed about love, about trust, and about her own capacity for happiness. And that, my friends, takes time. When she finds the strength to walk away, it isn't just for herself. It's a message to you. A message that you can't keep taking love for granted, that you can't continue to hurt someone who has shown you nothing but care. She may never say it directly, but in her departure, there's a clear lesson. Love is not something to be played with. It's not something to be tossed aside when it no longer suits you. And it certainly isn't something that should ever be taken for granted. In time, the man who has truly hurt her may come to realize what he's lost. He may reflect on the days when she was there, offering him the best of herself. He may regret the things he did, the things he said, and the ways in which he took her love for granted. But by the time that realization hits, she may already be too far gone. She may have already built a life for herself, one that no longer revolves around his approval or validation. And while it may be painful for him to accept, it's also something he needs to understand. When a man hurts a good woman, he doesn't just lose her in the moment. He loses the chance to ever truly experience her love again. And that, my friends, is a price few are ever prepared to pay. As we continue this journey, let's take a closer look at the emotional toll this loss takes on both sides and explore the irreversible damage caused by taking love for granted. Stay with us as we unravel the consequences of losing something so priceless. Thank you for watching this video. Love and growth are never an easy journey, but every step, even the painful ones, brings valuable lessons. If these stories have touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. We will continue to explore love, forgiveness, and the journey of self-healing. Remember, you deserve the best. See you in the next video.